Hello and welcome back to Up the Villa. Hope we're all doing really well. If you are new around here, make sure you are subscribing, smash the likes and comment your thoughts in the comment section down below. So, just as we thought, PSR was done and dusted. The rumours circle that can Aston Villa comply with UEFA's rules? And the answer is yes. SCR are the UEFA spending rules, which stands for squad cost rules, which is also an area that we have to comply with, being in Europe and being in the Champions League. And there's been some rumours over the last couple of days that, just because they've sorted PSR, they're now going to struggle to comply with UEFA's. They're going to have to sell some players. Someone else is going to have to go. Well, that isn't the case. So we're going to run through what SCR is and what we have to comply with. And then we'll have a general chat about some other little things that might pop up into my brain as we're talking. So squad cost rules limit spending on coaches' wages, transfers, agent fees, etc. Last season, it was at 90% of the club's revenue. This season, it drops down to 80%. And the next season, it will be at 70%. And that will be applied permanently. So it will be stuck at that number of 70% from the 25-26. Aston Villa currently under no pressure to raise additional funds to meet UEFA's squad cost rules after complying with PSR. So what can happen if you do breach these rules? And I imagine it depends on what club you are called. So depending on what punishment that you will get. So there are predefined financial penalties. They are sporting measures such as points deductions, demotion to lower ranking competitions. So, I mean, if you're in the Champions League, do you get demoted to the Europa League? Do you get demoted to the Conference League? And then you can also get an exclusion from Europe, which would be a massive punishment for any club, I guess. So UEFA do this over a 3-year period, a little bit like PSR. There is an added cushion of secure funding from the owners. And this is where I feel like this comes into what club you are. So UEFA deem good financial standing as one thing that can sort of help you out a little bit. And the Premier League are also, which we know, are going to be trialling this system. So this system that UEFA use, the Premier League are going to be trialling it as well with an 85% of your total revenue. So I imagine that goes in the middle. So it's a little bit higher than what we have to do this year. So it's interesting, but from what I'm seeing and reading is that Aston Villa are complying with those rules and those regulations. So guess it's sort of open checkbook time. Open it, write the check, sign the players and get them in there. But I think, we've got to be cautious, haven't we? So we have to be cautious. So we know that UEFA's squad cost is calculated as the sum of the first team and managers' wages, player amortization, agents' fees, etc., etc. And you just have to make sure you're complying with those rules, really. So it's interesting, but the only thing I want to know is, are we complying with them? The answer seems to be yes. So that's all we need to know, really. So, but I think we've got to be careful and savvy and clever and work with the market. And I think Unai spoke about this in one of his interviews towards the end of last season, saying we were going to have to be clever, smart, intelligent. Intelligent was the word that he used. And I think we'll still do exactly the same. I think there's one phrase that I see bandied around quite a bit. One phrase. And it makes me laugh a bit. When people go, but he's not Champions League quality. And I kind of get a bit like, what does that even mean? Because are we just thinking that we're going to have like X factor players just coming in all from every direction, like superstars, just because we're in the Champions League? And I think we've got to be smart, clever, intelligent, and just work with where we are and manage where we are and grow into what we're trying to become as well. You know, it would be very, very reckless to just go out and splash 60 million on a player, 50 million on a player, 45 on a player, because we're in the Champions League and we feel like we can. But we've still got to comply with a set of rules from the Premier League and from UEFA as well. And for me, I don't really determine a player coming in, so, for example, basically just based on what their transfer value is. So if a player comes in for 45 million, it technically doesn't mean that they are a better player than someone that comes in for 8 million, because the two can have the same impact on the team. The two can be really good players. You know, we looked at like Yuri Tielemans coming last summer for a free, and Moussa Diaby came in for like, what, 40 million? And they both played their part. They both played a role. Tielemans was quality and he was free. And we paid 45 for Diaby, who was really good as well. But, you know, the two, see where I'm trying to get at. That's what I'm trying to get at. You know, so it's about being smart. You know, Matson's going to be quality. Ealing Jr. is probably going to play a massive part next season, and he's been bought in for a combined fee of 22 million on that double signing from Juventus. So yeah, it's not about how much you pay. It's about what you're getting and what you're scouting, and how that player could come in and play a key role to your team, such as Ross Barkley. I'm under no illusion that Ross Barkley is going to play a very, very key role in our team next season. He's going to be crucial to us at times. And whether that's basically squad rotation, whether that's him coming off the bench, whether that's because we've got injuries, all these different factors account quite a lot. So for me, I think when we're signing players, it's definitely about being intelligent. It's definitely being about what we need at the right time. Like, where does Unai feel like we need to strengthen next season to be as competitive as possible in the Champions League, in the Premier League, in all the cup competitions? So it's really interesting to see what we do and where we go. Going into July now, you know, pre-season, we're back on Monday. So we're back on Monday, back training Monday. The players that haven't been away on international duties, Barkley is currently training at the minute already. So I personally feel like there will be a big money signing come. And when I say big money for Villa, our record is about, 45? So I think something in and around that fee. And then I think there will be clever signings used across the board. There'll probably be some more youngsters that might feature in the squad. There'll be some loans. There'll be a varying array of fees. But I think we're clear and we're able to spend now. And I think that's vitally important. I saw yesterday the rumour of Duran back to Chelsea. That's sort of back on-ish, maybe. That's what I saw, that they haven't sort of forgotten about Duran. So maybe that one gets done as well. That's another potential 30-odd million coming into Aston Villa. And then we've got to move on a couple. Your Dendonkers, Chambers, they've definitely got to go, in my opinion. But those are the ones that always are going to drag on, aren't they? You know, they're the ones that you're going to be like, they're not going at the start of a window. They're going at the end of a window. They're going at the end of the window because they're quite difficult for Villa to move on. because they'd probably happily stay and I don't know, sit around maybe. But, Dendoncker went to Napoli and didn't play. It's imperative that he moves on. So if we can get some form of money in for Dendoncker, 5 million maybe, is that what we reckon we could probably get for him? Chambers, he's not really going to play, is he? So he needs to move on. And then we've got to figure out what we're doing with left back. We've the three that we've currently got. I saw that Souza looks like he's going to be getting another loan move as well. So that's going to be really good for his development. So maybe one of those left backs have got to move on out with Moreno and Digne. Interestingly, let me know who you think. Who would you get rid of out of both of those two then? So Moreno and Digne, which one would you pick? So we've got those to look at. And then we've got some recruitment to do, whether what we do with right back or centre half and what Unai plans to do there. We've got goalkeepers. We've got, Gaucho came in. So it's going to be interesting to see how he develops. There was the interview that he did about him having to settle in and develop, and he found it a little bit difficult at the start to settle in and adapt. And that's what I was talking about. And I think we were talking about with scouts, basically when we were talking about, me and Earl were talking about what we do. And, it's not sometimes really easy for players to always just go, you've signed, come to Villa, play your best football, and that's what you've got. It doesn't work like that, does it? We know it doesn't work like that. And we know now that Monchi has this policy of how he recruits players, and he looks at their home form, he looks at their away form, he looks at how they perform away from home. Then he takes into account, does he feel like this specific player can just come to Villa and start playing straight away? Or do they need that little bit of that period of time where they're going to have to sort of like just ease their way in and grow into it? And that is not a bad thing. That it's not a bad thing at times where some players do take that little bit of time to just adapt and get going. I think sometimes we just want them to like turn up and start playing the best football they've ever played in their career. And I go back to Diaby. Like, for me, he had a good season. His numbers were decent. If he got a couple more goals, a couple more assists, he would have been fantastic. So going into next season, yes, I expect better. I expect every player that plays for Villa to improve season on season. So that's how it works with me. I want them to be better. Leon Bailey next season, I want him to be better. I've already seen the videos. I think me and Trashy in the comments were talking that Bailey's been doing some work, and I've been watching Bailey, and the videos that he was doing, he was shooting with his right foot. So it looks like he's really trying to work on that right foot. And I think when we looked back at pre-season last year and Watkins had outsourced his striker coach, it's important for players to look at areas of their game to improve on as well. And I think from what I'm seeing from Bailey with his shooting on his right foot, he's looking for that right foot as well. So that's going to be good to see Bailey improve. So I think they're all going to improve. But yeah, what I was basically saying is, Gauchi's took time to settle in and adapt, and he probably feels quite comfortable now. So when he goes into pre-season, he's going to be right up there challenging and et cetera, et cetera. Some other news: Martinez is not going to the Olympics. So thoughts on that, guys, in the comments? I know from what I was reading, it was quite split from what I was reading on social media. There was fans saying he shouldn't go, and there's fans saying that he should go. I personally, for me, don't think he should have gone. Well, he's not going, so there we go. That's the end of this discussion. But I don't think he should have gone. Diaby and Luca Dean, Villa said no. And Villa said no to Martinez. And Martinez did an interview saying he was trying, he was pushing to go. But I think had we had a season last year where we had no injuries whatsoever, and it was just comfortable qualifying for the Champions League, I'd have probably been like, do you know what? He deserves to go. But because we had so many injuries and it was a massive struggle. And if Martinez goes to the Olympics and he has no break from the Copa America, no break, straight into the Olympics, straight into the Premier League, he's going to be drained. So he would have missed pre-season, which we've already spoke about how important pre-season is. And I know he loves representing his country, but all I care about is Villa. So, unfortunately, I'm selfish and I want you playing for Villa. I don't want you getting injured. I want you ready, raring to go for next season, because next season's big. It's big because we've got Champions League football to look forward to. We've also got the Premier League to look forward to, So, yeah, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate timing. If there weren't no Copa America and it was going on right now, the Olympics, fair enough. Go, play it. But, yeah, frustrating for him. But for me, I don't want no injuries, I mean, imagine he got injured for the Olympics, yeah, right. So I don't think he should have gone. He's not going, but let me know whether you think he should have gone. But there we go. The other little thing about internationals as well is, and this is some of you might not even agree with this either, but I actually think we've got to start being a little bit more selfish as a football club when these international breaks are on as well next season. Because how many times do you see Saka go on international duty for Arsenal, right? Plays the first one. Oh, no, he's injured. He's gone back to Arsenal. And then the next Saturday, is he going to play? Is he not going to play? And he always plays. I think we've got to start switching on a little bit and not be so fair, I think. That's my vibe. That's my vibe, because all the other clubs do it and we don't do that. And I think, why do certain players, when they go away with England, always just play the first game, not play the second one? There was a time last season when I think Watkins went off in one of the Europa Conference League games at home, went off at half time, and then they'd got England over the weekend, or an England squad, or I can't remember what it was. And he played, he went and played. And I thought, well, you've come off at half time for Villa and now you've gone and played for England. I don't know. I just feel like that's just where I'm at, really. I think, like I say, I'm Villa first. I like that they play for the international teams, but I just want them. I want them healthy for Villa. So yeah, that's where I am. So let me know. I've waffled a bit. I said whatever come in my head, we'd chat about. So I have waffled a bit, but that's just where I'm at with it, really. If you agree, fine. If you disagree, absolutely fine. But yeah, I've come up with an absolute world-class concept starting next week. It is absolutely quality, right? It's so good. I love the concept. I love the idea, right? And I know you're all going to love it because you all love transfer hubs, right? So think you all love transfer hubs, don't you? So think new concept starting next week. It's going to be very good. Very, very good. And when it drops, I think when you see the thumbnail, I think you'll think that's very, very clever from Robinson. So, yes, we got that dropping. Thank you all for your thoughts on the new branding of Up the Villa. You all like it. Most of you did. Which is good. So thank you very, very much as well. So cheers for all the comments on that. Glad you like it. I'm glad you all like it because, I'll do this with you guys. So, and I want you to like what we do. So, and it was a big thing. And the intro, told you the intro was good. So I think that's everything. England, Saturday. I will do a watch along on Saturday. Didn't do one last weekend because my daughter was quite excited to watch England. So we sort of watched it with her. So she really wanted to watch it. So, but I'll do watch along on Saturday. So that one will be good as well. Hopefully it's better than the last ones. the draw is opening up big time for England. So big performance needed, I think, for England. Konsa might be starting, so we'll be able to watch Konsa. So that will be good as well. So cheers, everyone, for watching. Up the Villa.